Welcome to Software Leaders Uncensored with Steve Taplin. Welcome to Software Leaders Uncensored, where tech leaders drop the filters and just tell it like it is. I'm your host, Steve Taplin, a serial technology entrepreneur who's launched 30 companies, failed at 20 of those, but scaled 10 of those to success. And I turned that roller coaster of a ride into my book. It's called Fail Hard, Win Big. And in this book, I teach you how to turn failure into your biggest competitive advantage and how custom software played a defining role in every win. Now I'm the CEO of Sonatify Technology. We are a nearshore software engineering firm headquartered in Scottsdale, Arizona. We help existing engineering teams scale. We also offer managed pods where we have U.S. developers as principals tied with our nearshore teams. And today we are joined by Jose Perez, who has been a software engineer, an architect, a CTO, is also a musician and artist, and now VP of engineering at Vetspire. This will be a good one. Jose, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. You bet. Jose, before we get into the boring engineering stuff, what kind of music and stuff do you like to do?
Actually, yeah, I play different genres, to be honest. I play Latin music because I'm from Puerto Rico. You have to have that. You're Hispanic, right? I'm from the island. But I like fusion music, mixing funk with rock, right? I do play every week. I play in worship teams, bass. I also sing. So you can call that like a worship lead in the Christian music business. So I sing, I lead audiences and singing together. It brings a lot of meaning to my life, to be honest.
Awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. Well,
yeah.
Talk to us now on the journey of your career and what's led you to your current role as VP of engineering at Vetspire.
Yeah, well, let's see. In the beginning, actually, I'm an industrial engineer. I worked for GE for a very short time, for a while, and I just got bored. I found it very repetitive, and I like to speak and I like to entertain, and I actually became a teacher. Once I was a teacher, I also realized I could use technology to help kids learn better. I was an algebra teacher. I started programming educational software for the students.
Okay.
And I was able to see that half of my students, I actually managed to get a lab inside my classroom, and we put computers and we ran my software. Back in the day, it was Flex and Flash. Remember Flash? That thing that nobody talks about anymore? Well,
Yes.
I programmed educational software in Flash, and my students became top 5 by classes in terms of performance. Then I realized software can change human behavior. Software can enhance human behavior. Learning processes can be enhanced through software, right? I do have a master's in educational technology. I also have a master's in computer science. So I love to mix those two together. From there, a corporation found me, and I started programming corporate training. And then my journey began. And then I just got bored with front end, went to back end software, .NET, Java. Then I just went up, this is boring. Let's just do something else. Well, the next level is DevOps, architecture, right? I just started seeing what is the highest possible abstraction layer. So I just went up, ended up managing people, then became like a senior manager, director. That was an Orange Theory Fitness, connected fitness. We will do devices and do Internet of Things inside the gym. So that was a lot of fun. That's where I got my first managerial jobs. And then from there became a CTO at a different company. And then I landed on my current job as a VP of engineering as well. I just reduced that timeline pretty quick, so you got an idea what happened.
No, I appreciate, and I like how you were a teacher and you kind of backfilled into software to helping them learn better. That's fantastic. Tell it now. You've been at Vetspire for a little more than a year and a half. Tell us about the company.
Yeah, Vetspire, it's EMR, electronic medical records, but for veterinarians, right? We serve thousands of clinics on a day-to-day basis to run their operation. Everything you can imagine. Like in a small clinic, you cannot just have one marketing system and one accounting system. Software for veterinary practices need to be holistic, need to have all of it combined in one place. So Vetspire provides clinical experience, medical record keeping, combined with invoicing, charging, point of sale, combined with marketing, financial reporting. You can run your facility with our software. Not just that, we also run corporate, like corporations, meaning there's independent clinics and there's corporations. Right? Corporations have like 60, 100 clinics and they want data to try to run their whole operation. We are really good in doing that as well. We had that in mind when we designed the software.
So I certainly know EMR as well as it relates to the non-canine medical space. In the veterinary space, are there a lot of EMRs out there?
There are several. Definitely there's several, but they are there's like 3 corporations that pretty much dominated the entire market. They just will acquire software and then just held into the market. And now there's been a boom of newer cloud-based. These were on-prem.
Okay.
Now there's been a wave of cloud-based software that is penetrating the market, and we're leading the way in that regard.
Excellent. Now, certainly being in the tech space and being on the front lines is a lot of fun, but it's also can be a pretty volatile space. How did you get your current role? Did you apply online? Did you know somebody?
Well, in this case, first of all, I mean, I'm very excellent at what I do. So people that I work with in the past, they want to keep working with me.
Well, I wouldn't have you that was assumed. I wouldn't have you on the show if you weren't one of the best.
Right, but that is the key to get work, to get jobs and positions. Like if you're a good software developer, somebody's gonna want to hire you that you work with. So that's what I've been using most of the time. Is like, hey, I think I need to go to my next level. I know this person in this other company, and sometimes they're the ones calling me, and then I evaluate: is it a good opportunity? I know this is a good person to work with, right? With Vetspire, actually, the general manager of Vetspire, I worked with in a previous company.
Okay.
Right? He was my boss there. And then, eventually it's like, you know what? I know him. I know he's really good. I know he can achieve great things. Let's see if there's an opportunity there. What kind of opportunity could I get a hold of? Right. So, and there's all the people from that job in there that I know are excellent. So for me, it's like great opportunity, great people equals success.
All right. So you have the track record and you utilize your network.
Basically,
Nice.
you have a personal brand. You need to understand that. As a tech worker, you need to brand yourself in a certain way that people know if they hire you, they will know what you represent and the results you're going to drive. If you do that, people want to work with you. You're not gonna even have, like, the work will find you. You will don't need to find work.
I've never heard a software engineering professional put it in that manner, but it makes a lot of sense. I mean, your personal brand is your reputation, your network, and the results you've driven in the past. So I like it. I think that's a great way for tech professionals to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't think this way, you're gonna have a lot of trouble finding work.
Tell us
Yeah.
about some cutting edge stuff you guys are working on at Vetspire and how you're incorporating AI and some cool projects you have going on.
There's 2 things that we have going on, right? Before we talk about AI, because everybody's talking about AI, right?
That's
AI is
true.
very cool, and we'll talk about that. But even more transcendental than AI, I would say, we are repurposing or enhancing our software to be able to penetrate the universities, right? We believe that if the veterinary students are using Vetspire will be the leader in the market in the next 5 years. They will ask clinics hey, why don't you have Vetspire? Because they have a lot of say in the independent clinics and in the corporate world. So we are pretty much working with several universities to launch Vetspire with them. That is a big vertical that we are just working toward. And because of the amount of use cases in the university space, in the academic space, our software will be able to cover almost every vertical inside of the veterinary space. So now if you're using Vetspire, you can move from general practicing into emergency. You can move from having clinics on emergency, maybe ophthalmology, oncology. Like our software has it for you to be able to grow. And right now, that's what we're seeing in this market where clinics need to start offering other services. And we don't
Okay.
want to have to buy another software to render that service. Vetspire is your one-stop shop for all of your solutions. That is a huge vision for us, and it's coming together, and it's coming beautifully together, right? On top of that, then we have AI. And I would say that there's very few PIMs. PIMs is an actual like an EMR that there's probably one more, but not in the way we're doing it, that allows you to have AI at the core of the entire workflow, right? We have patient summarization, meaning it's hard to get all of the data for all the patient in one place, right? There's a lot of
Yep.
third-party tools trying to do that. It's like, imagine you have a little rag inside of, like, for those who are technical, right? A rag inside of your system. Well, we have all of your data. So we can summarize the clinical history of that patient. On top of that, we have scribing. And our scribing, it's not just a dictation tool, because this is what used to be in the past. It's no longer dictation. It's become agentic. And that means that you behave as a human, and we'll figure out where we put your behavior. Well, you speak to the client and you talk about the patient, and we'll figure out where that goes in the medical record. You don't have to worry about the medical record anymore, right? We say, the way we put it is like, listen, you don't follow the technology. Technology follows you. That is the future of UX. Humans need to focus on being human, and robots on being robots. Because people think that AI is here to take humanity away from us. And I will say it's the opposite. I would say it's here to enhance humanity, because the way we're seeing right now is that the doctors are telling me and telling us, hey, I'm able to make eye contact with my client for the first time, because before I was typing.
Otherwise, they're heads down just typing everything.
Yeah, or like clicking, and it's like, where did this go? And what's happening here? I'm like, and they're all confused by the technology. Like, when did technology become so confusing? It should never be like that. AI is freeing humans, at least in the dead space, to be human again, to leave at 5 p.m. when they were leaving at 7, 8 p.m. writing medical notes. That's no longer happening. They're like saving 1 hour, 2 hours a day. So it's life-changing.
I've had dogs my entire life, so I've been to my share of different veterinary clinics out there. Is it fair to say that they're less technical people in general at veterinary clinics, the users themselves, versus if it was a medical doctor's office? Is that a fair categorization? Or I'm trying to think of, when you're designing the product for your user, what are the key things you have to keep in mind? So the only thing that can come through my mind is every time I've been to a vet, I've been at good ones and bad ones, and organized ones and disorganized ones.
I think the veterinary community has been underserved by the tech community. Therefore, the tooling they have been exposed to is inferior. And there's no reason for that, because there's no FDA regulations for the veterinary industry. Meaning we can try things with AI that we cannot try with humans.
Okay. So I guess I didn't think of that. So that does give AI some more flex there.
We can be more progressive, right? Because there's not a lot of regulation, like anything that takes 3 years to 5 years in the human space, I just do it in the next month. So it's a field that is ready. It's ready for the taking, and it's how human care is going to improve. Because if you hear a conversation from a veterinarian, all the medical terminology they have to use, and it's just medicine. It's just not applied to a human body, but it's medicine. And we're testing tools and we're testing systems to ensure that the accuracy level for the animal practice is perfect. Because the only thing that veterinarians accept from AI is perfection. They will not accept even misspellings. Drug names cannot be wrong. They are remember, to be a veterinarian, you have to compete harder than to be a doctor. Check that fact. Like, there's very few schools, and they only take the top of the top of the top. These people are detail-oriented.
Okay.
They're perfectionists. So AI has to be perfect. So, and they treat the patient as if it was a human. To them, it's a human, not just an animal, right?
Well, once again, I've been a dog lover my whole life, having them. So I'm with you. Hey, I'm one of those guys that if I'm watching a movie and people are killed in the movie, it doesn't have the same effect than if a dog gets killed in a movie. That's a guy who's been around dogs his whole life.
Definitely.
So, and I really like how you put it, Jose, is when you really peel things back, what AI is bringing to the table is a different UX experience so that it can be easier for people to use, and the AI and the technology working in the background to customize around that person versus the traditional way software has been built.
Yeah, definitely. We have it backwards in tech, and hopefully because we lack the tech to do it, I'm assuming. But AI, almost because it can read the context, it can read the intentions. And the intention of the human is what matters. The intention of the human is what we always wanted to get through our UX. It's just that they had to click too many clicks and do too many things. And now we can observe behavior and have inference of how did that translate to your system. See, that is the new paradigm in UX. And I know I'm a VP of engineering, but I'm spending most of my time in product. Like product is where it's at. Like we're
Sure.
not an engineering company at Vetspire. We're a product. We're selling a product. We're not selling tech, right? So I'm trying to push my teams to think that way. I try to push the product team. We do have a product team. I'm trying to push them into that. Well, next thing is video. Next thing is photos. Deduct the behavior of the animal, and see how AI can give some inference on what's happening so that the system is following nature as it exists today, right? So I know it sounds really weird what I'm saying, maybe,
No,
but
I like it. It's a great progression. And
yeah, I think that's the next level.
to your point, since there aren't as many regulations for pets, a lot of could be uncovered here that could be used for humans at later stages. So I love it.
Yeah.
Talk
Definitely.
to me about your software engineering team, how many engineers you have, the work model you guys go about. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we have around, I believe it's 6 teams, and we have decomposed the entire EMR domain in 6 areas. So we took those domains, and we have engineers working with product owners, working with QA. And we do have a team that is more general, and they DevOps and more performance, and they look across different areas. So basically, we have 16 leads, tech leads, 6 product owners, and then we have some managers that just manage the keep people happy, basically.
And where are you guys a remote company? Are you in office?
We have a blend of things, actually. So our headquarters are in Austin, and I travel there once in a while, and we have some employees in there that work from there. But we have people in South America. We have people in USA. We have people in UK. We have a team in Vietnam. Lots of people in Vietnam, and some people in Europe, not UK, but Netherlands, around that area.
Okay. So how with a large team, how do you manage all those time zones?
Yeah. So
And you have a good full head of hair. You haven't pulled it out. How do you manage all those time
it
zones?
doesn't look gray, but it is kind of gray. It's just like the camera is doing fantastic work here. uh, how do you handle that? To be honest,
Nope, lie to me.
no, I won't lie to you. So
I'm
the
just
way
kidding.
it's handled, if you have remote groups, you have to be very good at asynchronous written communication. If you don't have a lot of good, your ceremonies need to be written, right? Because that it's you can have write something in one time zone, and then when somebody else wakes up, they can read what you wrote. But you're gonna have everybody in the same place writing, even in different time zones. So it's in that way there's continuity in on what matters and what's important, right? It's like you're doing your daily Scrum activities. You have to have spaces in your Slack or Teams, whatever, where you actually have reality defined on a ceremony that is asynchronous that can go across time zones. We do try to get some meetings where we try to get some people to talk to each other in real time. But my philosophy is like, the more you need real time engagement, that means the worse you are at writing. If you are good at requirement gathering and documenting those in written form, your need for meetings will decrease. I know how healthy my requirements regard gathering in my system is by how many meetings we have to have about them. Right.
With the complexities of building modern software, the real-time collaboration is also is often critical to talk through things and, hey, do we do it like this, like this, like this? And so, but you've figured out how to keep that productive with your global team.
Definitely. Again, I'm pushing them more and more towards the written ceremonies, the written requirements. Right.
Are engineers very good at that, in your opinion?
I have BAs that are technical that can write a lot.
Okay.
And then once the requirements are well written, then we can talk about it in the meeting.
Okay.
Right? If there's no written communication, what are you going to talk about? Like, my philosophy is that it doesn't get written, it doesn't get done. People feel that because they talk, that means it's working. And that's not true. For me, if you wrote it, you're working because it has structure, it has intention, right? So it's hard though. It takes years to get the people to think that way. People want to talk real time. And I'm not against real time, right? I'm not against that. It's just that it's going to be better when you do need to do real time, but it's even more productive when you have a requirements gathering document that has a structure and a format, and everybody knows where to go to get what information and where to ask the questions and what kind of questions you ask. And you always can go straight to that area in that format. And that way the psychology, like the cognitive load is reduced. I have people who don't speak English that well. I can't have meetings with them. I don't understand them. So why would I talk to you if I don't understand you? But they can write incredible English with all the tools that we have today to do the translation, right? So if you always present the same format, they will know where to ask the questions. So
Gotcha.
So now I do think that if you're talking to customers, that needs to be real time. Then we had some product people on this time zone that are in the time zone of the customer, because that is very important to have real time communication. A customer is not going to sit there and write things, right? So that's a different part of the process. I mean, I'm talking about processes like end-to-end process, right? Requirements gathering down to software development. I'm just trying to make sure that we write up front a lot and we all read it, and then we can talk about it. If you talk and then you know what happens? People talk and they don't write anything about it, and everybody forgets what is it that we talked about. And then maybe you need to start looking on the transcript or the video. It's like, are we recording? I was like, did you record it? Did you record it? And then you take the transcript, put it into Copilot or Gemini, whatever that you're using, and then it gives you the notes so people can read it. Because if it's not in written form, it didn't happen. It was just a psychological exercise to feel better about ourselves. Like, I'm very skeptical of, I guess I just seen it so much where people just blah, blah, blah. And I just like, all this blah, blah, blah means no work to me. I need to have tickets. I need to have all of the requirements one by one, and they all need to start looking the same.
Well, I joke, you do it wrong enough, long enough, you figure out how to do it right. So obviously, that's where you've seen the most success, is ensuring that good documentation, the right tickets are all there. So that's a good thing. So as a tech leader coming towards the end of 2025, what are some of the biggest challenges you're facing now?
I think the biggest challenge, to be honest, remote work is a challenge. That's one of them. People have accepted remote work, and I've only worked in remote work for the last 5 years, to be honest, and I've achieved things with it. But I see that there's some employees or team members that isolate themselves, and you have to be very intentional, because that isolation breeds apathy.
Yep.
Disconnection. People feel like they can hide behind their keyboards, right? And then remote work also has an issue where team members think that work is about their personal life, because work made it to their personal life, right? And they think that work is about them and not about the company's vision. And it's hard. Now that you're in your house, it's like, well, work is just in the way of my life. It's something that is preventing me from having my flexibility, my way of living. So before it was about the corporate, you go to the office and you know that office itself represented something, and seeing the people that represented something. Now, how do you bring that mentality into the remote work paradigm? It's very challenging.
Agree, it's a challenge. How do you go about what are your thoughts on how to, reduce those challenges?
I think that you need to have more one-on-ones. Your managers need to have more direct communication with the team members. All right. So to create that glue, because in the office you see each other and you gotta talk to each other, whether you like it or not. Yeah. In remote, people can just disappear. So you're gonna have to have schedule meetings every week or every 2 weeks, so that even if you talk about how you're doing in your life, you start creating that psychological glue. And then you can talk about the vision, you can know where we're going, right? That's important to do. Also, roles need to be very, very well defined. And then you got to find those things that fall through the cracks. There's a lot of things that fall through the cracks that, it's not in my role, so I'm going to hide behind my camera and not even think about, hey, the CI/CD just failed. We got 40 PRs, nobody can merge them. And it was like, is it me? Is it like it? Come on, guys. Like, in an office, because it's like, the concept of shame is there. Because they can see you, nobody's doing anything. As a team, it was like, guys, we got 40 PRs in there. What's happening? Like, I'm exaggerating, right? But you see what I'm saying?
No,
now it's like, now it's a Slack. Hey, we have a problem. People are like, not my problem, Twilight Zone. So now it's like, no, when this situation happens, these are the people who need to work with it. This is this. And then you got to define that and have everybody look at that. And that way, things don't fall through the cracks, especially in multiple time zones, distributed decision making, right? The propensity to isolate yourself. So I have 6 areas of health that we have in our company, and I explain all of them to the team. And I say, these are the stakeholders for this area, and you are part of that stakeholder group. So you know that if this happens in this area, this is your job, right? And then that trickles down to their job description. Then that trickles to the one-on-ones. Are you doing your job description? You have to be so intentional. Otherwise, you lose them. You lose your team. nothing gets done. All right.
All good points. I know before the show, you had mentioned that one of the challenges you have is handling QA while developing 75,000 new lines of code per month. Tell us how you're attacking that.
Well, I mean, I hate to use this thing, like the whole shift left thing, but yeah, we have made the developers more accountable for their code. Because we have more developers than QAs right now. We're actually hiring more QAs, by the way, but we pretty much ask the QAs to do more unit testing, not allowing the pipelines, the CI/CD to merge if we don't see a certain level of coverage. Part of the definition of done is now like, do you test locally and put a video on it on the ticket? Do you test in the actual when it's deployed to a testing environment for product to see? Test that, put a video, and with the video, because you cannot do a real-time meeting anymore. This is somebody 12 hours, right, ahead or behind. So when they put a video, QA can see how the developer thinks is supposed to work. Product can see how the developer thinks is supposed to work. So we're using a lot of the dev team to do more of that local testing and dev testing, and that's helped a lot. We've been doing automation, but this software is so big, it has thousands and thousands of use cases. So it's going to take a while before we do end-to-end testing for the entire platform, right? So having the developer test and show their work, it's important.
I've heard that definitely being a growing trend of having the developers show it on video, talking through it, showing it, and that it's actually helping them produce better code because they're like, oh my gosh, I got to present this via video and send it off.
Yeah, that's made a big difference. But letting them know this is connecting the vision, right? Connecting the purpose to their jobs. Like when you do something wrong in the code, I get a call, your boss. And I have had to face customers saying, you broke my system, you cost me money. And I let them know, this customer said this and had this problem, and these pets were impacted by this code. So take your QA and your job and your code seriously. It has an impact on society. You're not developing behind your keyboard in your house, right? There is a responsibility, moral responsibility to your coding as well. So
I like it.
They need to care. Like the job of leadership is to make people care about the right things and the right time.
I like it. Jose, what's, as you've made your way through your tech career and your engineering career, what's a brutal lesson you know now that you wish you would have learned earlier in your career?
I think that you need to know that there's some people that they don't belong in the organization, and they are antagonists. And it doesn't matter what you do, how much energy you spend. They know they don't belong, and they're there to suck your energy away. They're there to survive. They're surviving, getting a paycheck. And especially when you're a new CTO or new VP and you're arriving somewhere, some people have made a decision already. They're not going to be there anymore, but they're going to see how far they can take it with you. So you need to detect that and don't let that consume your energy and your time. Because for every one person that is an antagonist, there's like 99 others, right? That are amazing, that want to move forward. Give your energy and time to those. And then those who are antagonists are going to either leave on their own or you will make them leave in the right time. But don't invest your heart and your energy into them. You can't save everybody.
I'm a big believer of removing those people as soon as possible. Toxic people have a way of spreading, and I'm definitely a big fan of identifying it. And if it can't be fixed, you got to peel the Band-Aid.
There you go. Exactly.
Jose, thank you so much for getting uncensored with us today. Appreciate you walking us through your career, how you evolved as an engineer, the really cool solutions you're working at Vetspire. As a dog owner with two of them at my feet as we do this right now, I'm excited to see how your team sets the tone in the veterinary industry. Before we wrap, what's some no BS advice you have for other tech leaders out there trying to build, scale, or even just survive in these interesting times?
Become a good storyteller, and not to become a good liar. Create a narrative of where you're going, and that narrative, modify as you go. People follow stories, right? Create a good story, a good narrative of where you're going. And as you start getting into that place where you said you were going, keep telling the story about it. And then that keeps people focused. Even they helps them go through dips and failures. And then you can reshape the failures as part of a bigger story, a bigger narrative. Leaders need to know how to tell the story of these companies and these products live, right? And what are we doing together? You do that, people will follow. People will follow as long as your stories are like, you know how to tell it and they're truthful, and if they are really defining reality for most people, they will feel connected to the organization. They will feel connected to you as a leader.
Great advice. Love it. Thanks again, Jose. That's it for this episode of Software Leaders Uncensored. I'm Steve Taplin. If you like the show, go ahead and hit subscribe. If you didn't like it, well, we'll just send it to your competitors. Might be the edge they're looking for to give them new ideas. Remember to fail hard, win big, and always build what matters. See you next time. That's a wrap. Another great episode of Software Leaders Uncensored. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun doing this show. I love talking with great tech leaders. As a side note, if you're interested, check out my new book, Fail Hard, Win Big. This is the story of how I built 30 companies, failed on 20, and turned 10 into multi-million-dollar wins. The common thread with all of them was custom software. Also, if you need software development help out there, my company, Sonatify Technology, we deliver world-class software development engineers out of Latin America. We have a solid track record of helping companies launch better products and faster. Thanks again for listening. Appreciate it and appreciate you.